Hey guys, Brian back here again with update number 4. This is basically all I got in the month of January and the end of December, day after Christmas sales, that kind of thing that hadn't shipped until mid-January. So my first set of Blu-rays is going to be from Go Hastings, and first one up is Girl Most Likely with Kristen Wiig here. I thought this movie was pretty enjoyable. I watched it last week and really thought it was a good indie flick. Check it out. Up next, a movie with up-and-comer Jenny Slate, who you guys might know from The Kroll Show, if you've ever seen The Kroll Show. This is Obvious Child. Certified fresh, Rotten Tomatoes, stamp of approval there. This is a Lionsgate indie flick as well. Really like this one. Really funny movie about a girl who has a one-night stand and finds out she's pregnant, then confronts the guy, and the rest goes from there. But she's a stand-up comedian in this movie, and she just tells it like it is and tells everybody when she does stand-up about her life, and it's just really funny. Obvious Child. Up next is a movie that a lot of people don't know about, and it's kind of under the radar Ben Stiller movie, and that's Greenberg. A lot of people didn't like this one when it first came out. A lot of critics bashed it, and I thought it was really funny still. Just a little weird, dry humor movie from the director of Squid and the Whale, if you've ever seen Squid and the Whale. Check this one out. Really good. Greenberg. Up next is fifth in the series of the other 4 that I do not have on Blu-ray yet. I got the first 2 on DVD, but that's Final Destination Part 5. I'm looking to get that 4 film favorites pack soon, and this one's really fun. It has David Koechner from Anchorman, who you all know as Champ from Anchorman, and if you know these movies, you know what it is: premonitions, and then deaths, and then more deaths, and then more premonitions, and see things before they happen type of thing. Final Destination 5. Up next is a Michael Cera, Kat Dennings movie that I have not seen since it first came out, so I forgot all about it. I just know it has to do with a little playlist, and it's Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. And I really liked it when it came out, and hopefully I still do. I figured why not pick it up for $3. Up next is The Wrestler, Mickey Rourke, classic Darren Aronofsky film. You don't even have to like wrestling to like this movie. It's just a great movie with great performances by Mickey Rourke, Evan Rachel Wood, Marissa Tomei. He kicks ass in this movie as basically an ex-wrestler who can't wrestle anymore due to his health problems. Just a day in the life of somebody who can't wrestle, and yeah, The Wrestler. Up next, I got a Joel and Ethan Coen brothers movie, Burn After Reading. Guys, if you have not seen this, you know, what's his name? John Malkovich is awesome in this. Brad Pitt, great. George Clooney, hysterical. All-star cast, guys. Check out this movie if you haven't seen it. The ending will make you be like, what the fuck, but it's such a good movie. Burn After Reading. And followed that up with a depressing movie. This one is a love story, but in kind of like the worst way of a love story. But Blue Valentine, Ryan Gosling, Michelle Williams. She was even nominated for an Academy Award for this movie. I have not seen it since it first came out either, so I'm looking forward to revisiting this one. And here's a gangster movie that I haven't seen since it came out in theaters, and that's Gangster Squad. I know it's not the best movie, but I got an all-star cast, and always love Sean Penn. Sean Penn just kicks ass in everything he's in. Even if it's a bad movie, Sean Penn just rocks. Gangster Squad. This movie deals with sexual addiction, and that's Thanks for Sharing. This was a very good movie. I thought it was a little underrated from last year. Mark Ruffalo and Tim Robbins are awesome in this movie. Gwyneth Paltrow I can do without, not really a big fan of her. It's weird that you have Pink in the movie, and Josh Gad, who plays Olaf in Frozen, you know. It's a really good movie, really small little, you know, gem. Thanks for sharing. And this next one I haven't seen since it first came out, and it was definitely an indie movie as well. I like collecting indie movies, and this one's Lime Life. It's got Alec Baldwin in it. It's got Rory Culkin and Kieran Culkin, as well as Emma Roberts and Timothy Hutton, and I thought it was pretty good when I first saw it. It was produced... Yeah, it's executively produced by Martin Scorsese. That's the big name. I forgot about this. Executive producer Martin Scorsese did a movie with Alec Baldwin. Lime Life. Hold on a second. Next stack of Go Hastings here. Next up, Nicolas Cage, Drive Angry. What can I say about this except it's just cheesy, cheeseball, hilarious fun. If you haven't seen this, just watch it. It's just funny. Kevin Smith movie, Zack and Mary Make a Porno. I always enjoy this one, really funny. One of Seth Rogen's best movies. I also like Elizabeth Banks a lot. I think she's really pretty. And you got Jay from Jay and Silent Bob in there, and it's just, I don't know, pretty good movie. Zack and Mary Make a Porno. Horror movie up next. I got the original Last House on the Left here. Wes Craven classic in my opinion. Wes Craven didn't do that many good horror movies, but this is probably one of his better ones. Last House on the Left. I watched this one recently and it's kind of a messed up one. Friends with Kids. Basically Adam Scott's character hooks up with what's this girl's name? Jennifer Westfeld's character, and they're all best friends, but these two just have a kid and remain friends and just see the kid 100% half the time, basically. Basically play like a divorced family, but before even getting married, and skipping all the marriage and divorce thing. So all the other friends are just kind of annoyed and weirded out because they actually got married and had their kids the normal way. Definitely a weird relationship comedy movie. I liked it a lot though, especially you know, Adam Scott just drives this movie home. Next up, I got this one real cheap as well. This is Where I Leave You. Been wanting to pick this one up. It didn't come with a slipcover, and I was a little bit disappointed in that. Jason Bateman, good in this movie. Basically about a family dealing with their father's death, and they had to sit Shiva for a whole week. So I thought it was good. This is Where I Leave You. This one's a pretty funny classic movie, and it's He's Just Not That Into You. One of those, you know, movies that have just a bunch of actors in it, and ensemble cast, I guess is what it's called. But I always liked this one. This next one, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but I think it's a really funny movie from the director of Napoleon Dynamite. If you like that sort of off-the-wall Napoleon Dynamite style humor, and actually liked Nacho Libre as well, check this one out. Really funny. Gentlemen Broncos. One of my favorite weird movies of all time, I think. Basically, you got Michael Angarano's, I think that's his name, Angarano. He played the kid in Almost Famous, the kid version of Patrick Fugit when he was real young. And you got Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords. And basically, Michael Angarano's character, he loves this guy Jermaine Clement. His character, what's the guy's name? Doesn't say on the back, but he loves this guy's sci-fi novels, and he wrote this book called Yeast Lords, and he shows it to the guy. Just kind of to see if he liked it, see if he could maybe get it published. And the guy, he steals his whole book, and it's just about all the misadventures from this guy stealing this guy's book. And he basically just renamed the characters' names and printed it out and everything. A really funny movie, especially the scenes with Sam Rockwell. Yeah, Sam Rockwell's in this one. Check it out. Gentleman Broncos. Can't say enough good things about this one. Up next, Miles Teller, Shailene Woodley, Spectacular Now. Been meaning to get this one. Really like this one a lot. Basically, one of the more popular kids falls out of a relationship with one girl and then wants to, you know, kind of be with the girl next door type. So he asks this girl who's very shy out, and it all goes from there. Very strong performances in this. If you like Miles Teller or Shailene Woodley, check it out. This next one I got because Nick Darden talked about it. One of his videos in the last month or two, and that's Heathers. I just had to get this once he was talking about it. I have it on DVD, but had to upgrade to Blu-ray. Just such a good movie, such a hilarious, over-the-top dark comedy. You got Christian Bale, Winona Ryder. Not Christian Bale. Christian Slater, Winona Ryder. Christian Slater does that whole Jack Nicholson routine that he did back in the 80s. He doesn't talk like that much anymore. Still a little bit, but who doesn't? You know, who doesn't love this movie? Who's seen it? You got Shannon Doherty here too. Awesome. Heathers. Alright, that stack's done. Up next we got the Fry's pickups, and these were all $5 and the day after Christmas. First one up, double feature for $5. Classic movies here. Uncle Buck and Fletch. Now Uncle Buck is one of my favorite movies of all time. My favorite John Candy movie. I have not seen Fletch yet. Looking forward to really checking that one out. So glad I got these. They each come on their own discs inside too, so that's great. Uncle Buck and Fletch. Next, I got the Ultimate Edition on DVD with the packaging that looks way better than this, but this is a Ridley Scott classic in my opinion, and that's Legend with Tom Cruise, and it's got Mia Sara and Tim Curry from Rocky Horror Picture Show right there, playing Satan. This movie is really cool. It's got unicorns, trolls, probably one of my favorite fantasy flicks of all time. It's got the director's cut and theatrical versions on it. And what more can I say? If you haven't seen Legend, you probably just don't like fantasy movies. Legend. Here we got a Adam Sandler classic, and when I say classic, I mean probably one of his best comedies ever, and that's Happy Gilmore. Here on Blu-ray. Upgrade from DVD as well. If you haven't seen Happy Gilmore, I don't know where you've been, because I think everybody's seen this movie, so check it out. Happy Gilmore. Here we go. We got a Sam Raimi classic here. This one has a lot of basic references to Evil Dead as far as special effects go and just the overall look of it. And that's Drag Me to Hell. Another upgrade from DVD here. You don't really see Alison Lohman here around too much these days. I thought she was a pretty good actress. This one also has Justin Long in it and David Paymer. Drag Me to Hell. I only have to pick up The Wedding now because I got American Pie 2. So I got all of them that I want except for The American Wedding, even though that one is not my favorite. For $5, couldn't pass this one up. Classic movie. Up next, I got a John Hughes classic with the 1980s Best of the Decade slip, and that's Weird Science with Anthony Michael Hall and Ewan Mitchell Smith. Kelly LeBrock is the girl that they make, and yeah, I just really like those slips. And one of those little pop-out slips. And they got the 80s facts in there, little factoids. But one of my favorite parts about this movie is Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton is awesome. Let me know if you like Bill Paxton down below. I think he's really funny. Weird Science. I should have paired this one with the other one that I had, but it was in the other pile, and that's the remake of Last House on the Left. I like this one more than the original. It has Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad as one of the psychopaths in it, and also stars Sarah Paxton, and has Garrett Dillahunt, who played in Raising Hope as the father, one of my favorite shows. If you don't mind brutal scenes and you like horror movies, definitely check out this remake, Last House on the Left. This George Romero classic here is Land of the Dead. Upgrade from DVD. Couldn't pass this one up. I love Dennis Hopper and John Leguizamo in this movie. They both knock it out of the park. This is probably one of the first zombie movies that George Romero did that actually had some CG in it. It probably is the first one. Before Survival of the Dead and Diary of the Dead. I didn't really care for those ones too much. It's probably the last of the best zombie movies that he did. Check it out if you haven't seen it and you like zombie movies, Land of the Dead. And I got a 90s Best of the Decade slip on this one, and that's one of my favorite 90s movies. Just always takes me back. Once you watch this movie, you will be sucked right back in the times of the 90s, and that's Reality Bites with the cool slip cover. This is also another DVD to Blu-ray upgrade for me. I was looking at my DVD of it, and it's really funny because it just says 20th anniversary, and the DVD says 10th anniversary. So, if you like Ethan Hawke, Winona Ryder, or Ben Stiller, definitely check this one out. It's also got Janine Garofalo in it. It's got cameo appearances by Andy Dick, basically anybody that was on the Ben Stiller show, if you've ever seen the Ben Stiller show. And it's also directed by Ben Stiller, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. Oh, Steve Zahn's in this as well. Reality Bites, great movie. Alright, up next I'll go to my cheap BestBuy.com pickups. They had a lot of $5 and $7.99 movies, and this one was a $7.99 2-pack upgrade from DVD. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. The first one is awesome. The second one is so hokey and funny that it's just great. But the Creeper in the second one is a lot better looking than the Creeper in the first one, in my opinion. First one is probably Justin Long's first movie. But yeah, these are just guilty pleasures. I'm sure any horror fan likes these just as guilty pleasures, just like I do. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. Up next, this one I just couldn't pass up for the $7.99 price tag. I know it's like when you see it, but Martin Lawrence's Big Mama's trilogy. This is so bad it's good. At least the first two. I've not seen the third one yet, but I'll pop it in one night when I'm really, really tired and really just want something stupid to watch. I can't believe Paul Giamatti did this movie as well. He's in the first one. So is Terrence Howard also in the first one. Oh, these movies make me cringe, but they also make me smile. If you like Martin Lawrence and you know his stupid type of humor, check out Big Mama's House. After that, we got a John Travolta and Nicolas Cage movie. This one is definitely a classic, and that's Face Off. $4.99. Couldn't pass that one up. Such a cheeseball movie. John Woo. Gina Gershon. You just look at that. They trade faces in this movie. Come on, Face Off. Check it out. I got another triple feature up here. This one just kind of rounds out my Alien trilogy, or Alien anthology, quadrilogy, whatever you want to call it, box set that I put up on my first update. And that's the Predator triple feature here. This one's got Predator, Predators 2, and Predators, the Robert Rodriguez produced one. All three great Predators movies. Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Those are the only two that are out of my collection as far as completing all those. I'll get those eventually, but wait till it's like $5. Predators Trilogy, $9.99. Couldn't pass it up. This is on a lot of people's, not everybody's, but a lot of people's favorite movies of all time list. Really, really classic movie. Couldn't pass it up. $4.99. Shawshank Redemption. Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman. Such an awesome movie, guys. If you haven't watched Shawshank Redemption, I don't know where you've been watching movies, but check it out. Tom Cruise. I'm not a big fan of Tom Cruise, but I'm a fan of his 80s movies and a couple of his more recent movies. His 90s movies, besides Jerry Maguire, not really too big of a fan, but this one's great. Risky Business. I think he did this one right after he did The Outsiders. Such a funny movie, but it's really dark. Sorry about that, guys. Phone crept out of me. But I was talking about Risky Business. Classic. Up next, Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels classic, Dumb and Dumber. I have not seen Dumb and Dumber 2 yet, but I heard bad things. I still want to check it out, even though it's supposed to be not that great, but Dumb and Dumber. This is probably my favorite Adam Sandler movie of all time. I always love this one. That's The Wedding Singer. Anything that takes place in the 80s just instantly wins me over. You know, Drew Barrymore's awesome in this. You got Alan Covert. You got Christine Taylor's in this. You got pretty much all the old school Wedding Singer Adam Sandler cast is in this. Steve Buscemi, awesome, awesome scene with Steve Buscemi in this. If you haven't seen The Wedding Singer, definitely watch this. It's a classic. Next, I think I'll go with my Digibooks. I wanted to pick up some classic movies on Blu-ray and figure why not give them the Digibook treatment whenever I did. So, pick up these Digibooks. I got Rebel Without a Cause. Beautiful Digibook. Just see that right there. If you haven't seen this movie, James Dean is awesome in this movie. Oh, look at that. How can you go wrong with all that? It's like a 30-page book in there. But really glad to have this one. I also want to pick up Giant and East of Eden Digibooks as well to round out my James Dean collection. Rebel Without a Cause. Classic. Next one I still haven't seen. I bought it because it had a lot of good reviews on it, and that's An Affair to Remember. It's got Cary Grant, Deborah Kerr. Comment down below if you've seen it, if it's any good or not. But most movies that get Digibook treatments are usually pretty good, unless they're more of a recent movie. Here's a good picture. Affair to Remember. This is a Paul Newman classic here, and it's with Paul Newman, Jackie Gleason, The Hustler Digibook. I'm real glad I got this one. I know it's about pool, but I have not seen this one either. And I know that Paul Newman and Tom Cruise did one called The Color of Money, I think, and that's about pool as well. It's supposed to be a follow-up to this one, but I'm sure this is a great movie. What year is this one? 1961. Up next, been wanting to check this one out for a while. Have not seen it until this past couple weeks. And that's... Oops, sorry. Divergent Digibook. I thought it was a really good movie. And I'm kind of looking forward to Insurgent and the third one, whatever that one's called in the series. I don't read the books. I'm not a big book reader, but I definitely watched this movie and liked it a lot. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Divergent. I thought the Digibook looked a lot cooler than the Steel book, so that's why I picked this one up instead of the Steel. It came with cool little temporary tattoos, and it's got little facts about each character of the movie, and it's got the DVD and the Blu-ray, so I was happy with it. Picked it up off of Amazon for cheap. Divergent. Now this digibook, I've been wanting this one for a couple of years now, ever since I've become starting to be a Blu-ray collector. One of my favorite movies of all time, and I got this one for $9.99 at on Fry's.com day after Christmas, and that's E.T. Look at that, that's such a beautiful digibook. Such a beautiful digibook. I think my favorite pictures in this digibook are, where's it at? When they start talking about the Universal ride, and they got the little figure, the old action figure over here. It looks pretty cool. If you guys haven't seen E.T., definitely just see E.T. because Steven Spielberg, classic movie. Off Amazon, I got Sex Drive. Well, I'm not sure if I put this in my last update or not. I really like this movie. Amanda Crew, stunningly gorgeous. I like her also on that show Silicon Valley, really funny show. Seth Green, Clark Duke, and Josh Zuckerman, and James Marsden, who's not on the cover, but he's one of my favorite parts of this movie. Really funny as the brother of Josh Zuckerman's character here. If you haven't seen Sex Drive and you like raunchy teen comedy, check it out. Up next here are a couple horror movies. This one is the Twilight Time 30th anniversary edition of Fright Night. I was lucky enough to get my hands on one of these with the cool clear case. Limited edition of 5,000, and it sold out in 2 days. Crazy. I really don't like Twilight Time for the fact that their Blu-rays are so expensive and they're all limited release and you can't get a hold of them except for on stupid eBay for $65, but that's my rant there. This one's pretty cool. It's got a lot of special features on it, if you can see. I'm sure there's plenty of other unboxings on YouTube already for this, but I thought it was a really good upgrade and transfer from my DVD. Just glad to have this on Blu-ray finally. Classic movie. They need to put the second one out. Fright Night. This next one, Celluloid Terror told me to check it out, and I did, and it's really, really hokey and dumb, but I still enjoyed it. And that's Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers on Blu-ray. This is the special signed edition. The director actually signed the back of it. And yeah, it's not just a print, that's definitely signed. This movie was so stupid but funny. It's got Gunnar Hansen's in it from, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's also got Linnea Quigley and over the top movie. One of the special features, it shows the premiere of Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, and the person hosting it is freaking Greg Kinnear with a microphone supporting this. So I thought that was really funny to see Greg Kinnear on one of the special features on a Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers Blu-ray. Check it out if you're into sleazy movies. This next horror movie is definitely one of the, Entertainment Weekly says it's one of the top 20 scariest movies of all time, and I agree with that. This movie is really frightening, and that's Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. This stars Michael Rooker, who you all know as Merle on Walking Dead, you know, Daryl's brother. And he's also, I think his name is Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's been in plenty of other stuff, but this is probably one of his very first roles, and it's definitely a scary role for him to be in. Glad to have this on Blu-ray finally. Picked it up on Amazon for cheap. It actually went on sale. It's always $20, but they had it on cheap for, I think it was $7. Check it out if you like horror movies. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Up next, I got a TV series that I picked up the first 3 seasons for $14.99 each. I got the 4th season coming in the mail soon. Just waiting on it to be shipped. And that's Shameless. Seasons 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now I know Nick Darden likes this show, and I just love this show. It's one of my favorite shows of all time right now. It's still airing on TV. Definitely glad to own it. If you haven't seen it, it's basically William H. Macy's a deadbeat dad, and the oldest daughter of the entire family has to take care of all the kids, and it just goes on from there. It's such a good show. Definitely check out Shameless. It's based on the UK series, which I haven't seen yet, but Shameless is awesome. Awesome Showtime show. These are going to be some more of my recent pickups. Here we go. The Richard Linklater classic, Boyhood. Everybody's all about the Boyhood, and I like it as well. 12 years to make this film. Such a classic film for years to come. Awesome performances by Patricia Arquette, Ethan Hawke, Eller Coltrane, and Lorelei Linklater. Can't wait for Criterion for this to come out. I didn't really care for the Mondo edition Steelbook. Just didn't like the art on it. I like all the other Mondo stuff, but I just didn't care for that one. That's Boyhood. What can I say that everybody else hasn't already said? This is probably going to win big at the Oscars, I'm sure. Boyhood, check it out. Check it out. This next one's a 3-film set. I was wanting to pick up just the one movie off of it, but I saw that it was on a 3-pack, and I love stop motion animation movies, so I had to pick up the triple feature Coraline, Paranorman, and the Box Trolls. The Box Trolls is the one I was wanting to go to see, and I saw that they had all 3 of them included in a 3-film Leica collection. Leica's the studio company behind it, and it's really, really fascinating just to watch some of the special features and see how these movies are made, because they put a lot of work into it, and all these different figures that they have to do. It takes so much time and so much effort versus standard Pixar whatever movie these days. Said it took I watched the Paranorman one, and it said it took 2 weeks just to make a sculpture of his head, just to make those spikes on his head. So I like the Box Trolls. The Box Trolls is awesome. Paranorman's my favorite out of the 3, then the Box Trolls, and then Coraline being my least favorite. But definitely check out if you like stop motion animation movies or any Disney movie. These are awesome too. A little more geared for adults than Disney movies, but just great. Up next is a movie that Seth Talks Film hates, and a lot of people either love it or hate it, and that's The Guest. I had to pick this one up, guys. I love this movie. Such a fun action movie. I thought it took place in the 80s because of the music, but then I seen that they have cell phones on throughout the entire movie, so I guess it takes place now and just has a really cool soundtrack. From the director of You're Next, and when I say it's big, it's bold, it's badass. It is big, bold, and badass. And I like the slipcover on it too. It's got the little raised lettering there, embossed, debossed, whatever you want to call it. The Guest. Here we got, this is a classic movie with Crispin Glover, Keanu Reeves, Ione Skye, who was in The Girl and Say Anything, Daniel Roebuck, Dennis Hopper, River's Edge. If you have not seen this movie, check it out, especially if you like any of those cast members. Dennis Hopper just steals every scene that he's in. Basically, it's about the guy Daniel Roebuck, who's friends with everybody and all the other cast or whatever. But he brings his friends over to the river's edge and shows a dead body. He said that he had killed this girl, which he actually did, and he's basically bragging to his friends about it. And Keanu Reeves and Crispin Glover's character kind of shit themselves whenever they see this dead body, and they don't know what to do. And it's basically just about this stupid kid who tells everybody about that he killed this girl, or just talking shit, and the consequences that come after that. Really, really good movie. Dennis Hopper, he plays Feck. He's basically a weed dealer in this movie. Who had killed a girl 20 years earlier, but just hasn't gotten arrested for it yet. He's kind of just like a recluse in hiding kind of guy who sells weed to them. but really, really good movie. Check it out if you haven't seen it. River's Edge. This movie is a Magnolia movie, and that's White Bird in a Blizzard with Shailene Woodley, Christopher Maloney, Eva Green, Thomas Jane, Angela Bassett, Gabor Sidibe. I really, really like this movie a lot. I like anything that the director Greg Araki does. Greg Araki is one of my favorite directors of all time. Love Mysterious Skin with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it. Need to pick that one up on Blu-ray as well. Basically, this movie is just about a girl whose mother goes missing, and they try to figure out why or how she became missing, and where her body is, and that kind of thing. So, if you haven't seen any of Greg Araki's other movies, I definitely recommend Doom Generation and Nowhere, off the wall movies. Yeah, great movie. White Bird in a Blizzard. Check it out. Down to the final stack. These are movies that I picked up this past week. First one being Gone Girl. And, it's got the Amazing Amy booklet with it. I really like this one. Ben Affleck knocked it out of the park with this one. Rosamund Pike, good actress in this. David Fincher, awesome director. Just wouldn't look, you predict the first half of the movie, but the second half of the movie just threw me for a freaking loop. So if you like movies that just you can't predict the ending, watch Gone Girl. Great movie. Now on to the movies that I picked up today. First one being the Steelbook of Brad Pitt, Fury, Target exclusive. Awesome. Steelbook. Show you guys the inside art of the steel. I really enjoyed this movie. Really great war film. I wasn't expecting much when I first heard about it, because I was just like, oh, well, it's another Brad Pitt movie, but it ended up being really, really good. And Shia LaBeouf, awesome in this movie. Really happy I got the Steel, even though it was almost a week late of getting it put out on Steelbook at Target. So they had like 4 left. Picked it up. Fury. This is the 10 Sweet Years anniversary edition of this, and that's Napoleon Dynamite. Had to pick this one up for $7 at Best Buy today. Especially after watching Gentlemen Broncos last week. Classic movie. Gotta love Napoleon Dynamite. And that cool little Liger feeling felt on the cover. Feels pretty cool. Second to last Blu-ray here finally. Young Frankenstein with that cool slip. Glad to finally get this. I wanted to get this when it first came out, but couldn't find it for cheaper than 15 bucks. Found it for $7 today. Can't pass it up. If you haven't seen Young Frankenstein and you like Mel Brooks, definitely check this one out. Classic movie. And I didn't get the chance to get this one on Black Friday for $3 or $4, but I got this one today for $4.99 with the Fox Icon slip, and that's Independence Day. Probably one of my very few movies of Will Smith that I actually like. You got Will Smith on the back here, but I always like this one. Really good movie. Jeff Goldblum, one of my favorite actors here, and just great in this movie. How can you not like Independence Day? Well, that about wraps it up. Sorry for the long update, but it has been about a month since I've done one, so hope you guys have a happy Super Bowl Sunday, and take care.